Steve is a strong act to follow, but I still hope to keep you awake in my presentation for a bit longer. Try not to fall asleep. There are some interesting ideas that we've been exploring and developing in Grand Challenge 2.4. I'll begin with a brief overview of SustainValue. For those of you who've heard about it endlessly, please bear with me. And for some of the new faces here, it's an EU project, tools that would help companies of various scale and sizes, from startups, SMEs, and multinational, in their journey towards developing a sustainable business model. And I just wanted to point out that some of the themes that have been discussed yesterday in the presentations, as well as the discussions outside, and in Steve's presentations, like collaboration, co-creation of value, interdependencies across the industrial system, has been the premise of some of the work we've been developing. We're at the testing and use phase, so really encourage you to come and speak to the team, whom I'll be showing in a minute after I stop my rant. But I'd really like to emphasize that please come and talk to us about it. We're very happy to use the tool with you, get your feedback and suggestions. So here we go. SustainValue is funded by the European Commission. We have 6 academic partners and 4 industrial partners. The academic partners mainly are the work package leaders, and the EPSRC Center leads the work on sustainable business models, but we do have a coverage of governance models that would support sustainable models, sustainability performance standards, and I'm happy to talk to you about this, but probably after the presentation if you're interested, or put you in touch. So one of the key objectives of Work Package 2 has been to try and develop tools that will assist companies in their journey to encourage sustainability in their purpose and in their operations, but it's not an easy task to follow. So what we've tried to do here is help you in terms of your strategic thinking, as well as some operational tools that may or may not be useful. Leave the decision to you. And in that process, we have been trying to learn what constitutes of sustainable business models, what are the gaps out there, what are companies struggling with, what can we understand from the vast amount of literature that's spread across the value network area, business models area, organizational theory, stakeholder theory. So how do we try and bring all of that together and make something useful or applicable out of it? And what is this architecture for the new business models that we've been discussing throughout yesterday and today too? And with a specific emphasis on how do you engage, again, about the interdependencies, how do you engage with all the stakeholders across your value network, really. So these are some of the wonderful people that I've had the opportunity to work with. So if you spot us anywhere during the day, please do come and talk to us. We've had the pleasure of working with some of the industrial partners, and we hope to continue that. But we're also very enthusiastic about you new ones joining us and sharing their knowledge in the area. So what have been the current outputs? SustainValue is sort of in its last 6 months, the crucial 6 months, really. But till now, we've had 4 reports which have sort of looked at the state of art and the state of practice review. We've done case studies, we've gone through literature, we've tried to come up with a report that helps you understand what's actually happening out there. What are some of the tools and methods that already exist? And the gaps that we've discovered from our case studies have helped us to develop new tools. And there are 2 others that are coming up by the end of this year. This will be the focus of the presentation, where I'll be taking you through some of the tools and the 5-step business modeling process, as well as introduce you to other tools that have been developed across the SustainValue consortium. These are some of the activities that we've done. Now, the 18 workshops are particularly using the value mapping tool in collaboration at some sessions with the sustainable business model archetypes, but in general, knowledge exchange, formal, informal conversations, case studies, really, to try and understand or get a grasp of the area. These are some of the things that we've been sharing with the academic communities through journal papers and conference papers, so happy to share them with you. But yes, if you, again, find one of us working on any of these papers, please do come and talk to us. So this is so the next couple of slides are going to be about some of these tools, not all, You might be familiar with some of them because they're already out there existing and there's been a lot of work done on it, but we thought we'd include it in case they do create some curiosity. And so this is the process that we've working on right now. We're not saying it's the final process. It's I think the continuous improvement will continue on about this, but this is just to get an overview of how we can engage, academics as well as practitioners can engage the entire industrial network by starting off with understanding the purpose, the various stakeholders, and how you can co-create value, understand value better that's probably missed or destroyed across the network. And that sort of brings me to this tool, which some of you might have already seen outside. So please do come and talk to me about it, and I'll take you through it. But this tool basically emerged from the premise and endless discussions and meetings and workshops that how do you try and capture value, particularly value missed and destroyed in the system. How do you understand these various value forms which can then create opportunities that will support sustainable business modeling, but with the focus on it being network-centric. So that was the sort of the brief premise of how the tool came by and how we thought it could help companies think about what is their current purpose and where can they go by trying to understand these forms of value. So basically, I'm not sure how visible that is. You begin with starting to understand the purpose of the business, and then you sort of populate the tool by working outwards across each stakeholders. This then will help you either generate a dialogue between your stakeholders, and just to point out over there, the tool would be really good if you have representatives across all the stakeholders. Yes, of course, it might be opening a can of worms as it came out at one of the workshop sessions, but that's useful. You try and understand each other's perspectives. You try and see where the opportunities are to work together, all about understanding that we are interdependent, really. So there are two versions of this tool at this point. The second tool has been published in a paper. Happy to share that with you. And the other one, the first one, we're still sort of testing it within SustainValue. So yeah, so please do come and use the tool with us. You're very welcome. And this is how it looks when it's populated, really, very colorful and nice. There are lots of ideas down there. We do get a lot of ideas, sometimes overwhelmed with ideas. Companies themselves get overwhelmed with it. But it's a process of generating dialogue, really, something that we're really trying to understand over here around collaboration and co-creation. One of the other tools that we've helped, once you've developed your new sustainable value proposition or propositions, how do you transform that? That's the difficult part, the transformation. What sort of a business model or a concept that might work to help you take that forward. So I'm just going to pinpoint on Sam. This is Sam's developing this further in his PhD, so please do go and have a chat with him. So I'm not going to dwell too much upon this slide. It's a very rich picture over there, but there are just various groupings and mechanisms of business model that could support business model innovations, really. So step 5, which looks at configuring the industrial system, really, so touches upon a lot of work in the configurations of industrial systems project, is about, so once you've identified this new value proposition, once you've seen seen the various solutions that are out there that might help you transform that, how do you go about configuring your value chain, really? How does that go forward? Because that's not an easy thing. Who are the suppliers that you want to work with? What are the activities that you want to get involved in? So these are two tools that might help. So if you start off with the business canvas tool about understanding the various activities partners across the system, then that might be a beginning. And then how do you roadmap that across, 5-year, 10-year period that you've established? Now, both of these tools are available out there, and I'd like to just flag the strategic road mapping tool, which has been developed by one of our academics in the Institute for Manufacturing. This has been slightly simplified and used together with the value mapping tool by our colleagues in IFM, who are also in the audience. So that's sort of like transforming the new value proposition and trying to road map it, again, to map out these various elements. So yes, and the Osterwalder and Pinot tool is very synonymous to the business model world, really. So yeah, happy to talk about both of it, again in detail if you're interested. These are the two tools that have been produced by some of our partners in the SustainValue Consortium, particularly our partners in Germany and Finland. So the sustainability impact calculation tool is trying to understand the impact of your social, environmental, and economic activities, whereas the life cycle cost estimation tool helps you try and filter the various options that are available by telling you what's most suitable for your company based on a life cycle analysis, really. So yes, again, I can put you in touch with people who are developing this if it sort of raises your curiosity. As always, with everything in our area, there are challenges, and it's good to be aware of the challenges so you can take that on in whatever you deliver, and that you're aware of it and you're addressing it. Transformation and implementations definitely is an issue that's across not only sustainable business models, but business models in general, really. And the other thing, particularly for delivering sustainability with startups and SMEs, has always been the business case, really, trying to get investments. Where does it come from? How can you stick with your ethos and yet get people enthusiastic about putting money and not looking for a 3-year turnaround or a 5-year turnaround? And that's a struggle that I think a lot of us here will face with our work and in introducing our work. And of course, policy has been quite dominant again in yesterday's discussions. What do these future policies look like that might encourage sustainability? So yeah, these are some of the challenges, maybe not all. I'm sure you might have come across more challenges, but yeah, sort of the key ones to think about while you develop your work further. Participation, this is my favorite slide because this is where we need you to come and work with us. None of this is possible or would have been possible even in the development if we didn't have our industrial partners working with our academic partners, European partners, UK partners working with us, because we really need to learn about what's out there to be able to develop tools, methods, approaches, processes, whatever you call them, but really about just generally encouraging knowledge exchange because we're all learning, really. So what's in it for you? What's in it for you? Collaboration, obviously. You get to work with wonderful people that I put up and more. Yeah, and then just really jointly drive the business model agenda for sustainability forward. And these are some of the questions that's been recurring with our team across the last couple of months or 2 odd years or 3 years. So I'd like to leave you with some of these questions, challenging questions, difficult questions that don't have short-term answers, really, but we need to be aware of them, as with the challenges. So we'd like to let you dwell upon it for a couple of seconds. And yes, that's it from me. I hope that helped you sort of engage you in some of the things we've been developing. Very happy to hear from you, criticisms, suggestions. Oh, I forgot that one. Anyway, I'll leave you at that with Sen's quote.